snow day for the college kids. So the games have been moved to tomorrow. Mike DiMauro is here for a football playoff preview. Before we get into that, I just want to say that these segments with you, as well as the power rankings with Peter, have been very well received. We've gotten such great feedback on it. So as Mike and I continue to do segments through the winter during basketball and other sports, I think the thing that people have really enjoyed is when we go back and forth on a topic. Whether it's does the ECC stink at football? 6 playoff teams will have a chance to prove that one way or the other. Strength and conditioning, coaching in the offseason, all of these things. So what I want to put out there to the people out there is, what subject matters do you want us to talk about? What are things that are of interest to you that Mike and I might be able to debate? One thing you should know about me, I am perfectly comfortable taking the opposite side of every argument that Mike has, so I will absolutely engage him. But I think as we move into the winter, while we'll still preview some, the games and stuff, I kind of like a little topic of the week with us.
Yes. No, it's been great. And I've learned every game that I go to, they listen to every word.
They do, yeah. So we're gonna definitely look at that. So what topics do you want us to discuss moving forward? We'll get into that. I actually do have a topic to talk about at the end of this that directly relates to football. But let's start with football preview. I don't want to call it Thanksgiving Day because I know that you get the crawlies when I mention Thanksgiving football. But what a great day or 2 days of football that we had to jostle things around in the playoff picture. Teams that looked to be in, teams that dropped out, and where they end up getting seeded. So before we look at them individually, there are 6 ECC teams in the postseason.
For now.
5 of them are on the road, which means that they are on the lower half of the bracket. I think I have an easy answer, but come Thursday, how many ECC teams are going to be in the playoffs?
1, maybe 2.
And that's going to be something we will talk about as we get to the end. But let's start with the playoff brackets. We'll start in Double L, where the NFA Wildcats are the number 8 seed. We've known this for a while. The only question was going to be, where were they going to go? And I guess the good news for them is they only have to go to New Britain rather than having to go to Fairfield Prep. The bad news is they have to go play a New Britain team who is very good, 8-1, and their only loss was to Fairfield Prep. And that New Britain team did beat Southington, Glastonbury, Maloney, good teams. Does NFA have any semblance of a chance in this game?
Okay. Every time I watch them play, I saw NFA 3 times this year. I kept saying, I think there's more under the hood here than they're showing. I actually give them a shot here because they are athletically pretty good, and they've won 6 out of their last 7. New Britain is not a particularly experienced playoff team. Yeah, I think they got a shot. Do I think they're going to win? No, but I like the matchup with New Britain a lot more than Prep or Greenwich, which came close to that top seed.
So the only thing NFA is missing is a signature win. They did beat Fitch, who's a playoff team, but the wins for them are against teams at 500 or below, including a 1-win team and a couple of 3-win teams. And the loss, I'm going to throw out the Trumbull Xavier losses because they were so early. The losses to Ledyard and Killingly don't appear to be bad losses. They're playoff teams as well. But I don't know that NFA has a signature win. So punching in an upper class here.
I don't think they're going to be athletically outclassed, though. Okay. That's why I give them a shot. So
who is the favorite for you in Double L?
Probably Greenwich. They Greenwich Prep. To me, that's
That's going to be a heck of a semifinal.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, lurking in the 6th spot, they'd have to beat Greenwich, and I don't think they will. But a 5-5 Staples team is a dangerous team. If I'm Greenwich, I wouldn't love to see the Staples team as my first rounder.
And Southington's hot, too. Very hot.
So we'll slide down into L, where there are no ECC teams, so we won't spend a lot of time there. But New Canaan, number 1 team in the state. And that's where we hold interest, because if Killingly, and that is a big capital I now in the if for Killingly, if Killingly does, in fact, win a state championship, for those who want them to finish first in the state, we're going to have to see a New Canaan loss. Or do we? That's the question there. New Canaan opens with Darien, who they've already beaten. And then they would see Weaver or ATI, who I think, quite frankly, they will walk over. And that puts them into the final against a Newtown or Cheshire team. And they've already beaten Newtown. So is there a team who can beat New Canaan?
Well, Case, nobody can, but that might be the good news. Class L is the weakest in the state. There's no one there. Cheshire got pounded on Thanksgiving by Southington. They've already beaten Newtown. There is nothing there.
So the best bet for Killingly might be a New Canaan 17-14 win over a team that no one's all that impressed by, to give Killingly at least the door.
And then they go drill hand.
Well, I'm not sure how much.
I don't know
if
they can.
And I'm not sure that we're going to table that one, because I don't know that they have to drill them. And we'll talk about that when we get. So New Canaan's the favorite. If there was a team in L that can beat them, who is it?
I don't think anyone can. Honestly, Case, I just don't.
Moving on to Double M, where we have 2 local teams, and one of whom got probably the best draw they could hope for, and the other got the worst draw of the entire CIAC playoffs. I saw them Sunday at the ECC banquet, and I talked to Coach Smith, and I congratulated those kids at Valley, the Valley Panthers, because what a great team effort this year. They make the postseason. They come all the way back on Thanksgiving to beat Griswold, which no one thought was going to happen. And the reward is Windsor. And if there is a team unlike anyone Valley has played this year, that's the problem. It's not just that they're playing a really good team. They have not played anyone that resembles Windsor. That is a huge task for them.
Well, okay, let me just echo what you said. I mean, Valley is now, you got kids from different schools coming in now, so you got to get them all playing together. You're playing a full ECC schedule now. So many things there can go wrong. And to make the playoffs and beat your nemesis on Thanksgiving, yeah. I mean that's it doesn't get much better than that. And I hope that they can, even get more kids out next year. This is this game is, I'm afraid that it's going to be one of those examples for people across the state to say this is why we don't need 8 teams in every division.
So this is an interesting one, to the point that we talked with Peter earlier about, is making the playoffs. And you had mentioned, so Valley gets to talk about a playoff experience. I think that's a positive for the program. 75-0 is not good for anybody, but it won't diminish that they made the postseason. The question I have is, would the win over Griswold, with if the postseason was only 4 teams and not 8, and they finished the year having beaten Griswold, isn't that just as good, so to speak, as a playoff appearance and then an absolute drubbing in said playoffs?
Yeah. And I was thinking about this. the ECC's greatest strength is also its greatest weakness.
Bunch of competitive teams, but no great team outside.
Well, yeah, but they do such a good job at equity,
parity,
competitive scheduling.
Yeah.
You don't play schools that are 22 times your size. You play, and this is what CIAC does not do. But it leads to you winning just enough games to make the playoffs.
Now
then
that
you
5
get
and
this.
5 and 6 and 4 gets you in, yes, this is what happens.
Yes. So, but they've already had a great year.
So I'm going to be the last person to advocate that it's a good thing to have more teams in the playoffs, but if there is a benefit for a team like the Valley Panthers, so like you said, they don't see a team like Windsor, and if there are ECC teams that aspire to get to the next level, you have to face teams at that level to get a sense for this is what the next level looks like. What are we going to do to get there? Because I think there are other teams that are content in their ECC bubble, and they say, yeah, like we can go in the weight room twice a week this summer and win ECC Division 5, be first place among 3 teams, good for us.
And they can do it in the Alliance, but not like they used to, because the Alliance's goal is to have that equity as well. So you're right. It is harder for them to ever see a team like that, to actually know, it's like your small town bubble, to know what exists outside of your town. It's a good point, Peter.
Well, and to Peter's point, I've had a number of kids in the last week or two tell me Thanksgiving is more important than the playoffs. I get it, but that's not a very.
But it works if it works if you cut the playoffs. Thanksgiving can stay if you go to 4. So if you said to Valley, win over Griswold on Thanksgiving, but you don't make the playoffs,
I think
they would take it.
They would have been.
They would take it. So the other team in Double M at the 6th seed are the Fitch Falcons. And if you look at the top right, we talked about Windsor, Wilton, Bunnell at 3 is where Fitch goes. Now, the reason why I say this is probably as good a matchup for Fitch that they could have asked for is they've played at Bunnell before. We had it on game day in 2019. Ty Jenkins, the coach at Bunnell, is a New London guy, well known. So there's going to be some familiarity there. There's going to be some. I don't think some of the mystery of opponents is there. And though Bunnell's a very good team, I feel like the last 2 weeks that we saw Fitch limiting the mistakes, I saw them on Sunday, and I talked to them on Sunday, and they really believe that if they do their part, and that's what Coach Ellis said. He goes, you know what? No penalties, no turnovers, and we get drilled, so be it. Team's better than you, it happens. He's like, I just want them to no penalties, no turnovers, and leave that game saying we did our part. And the Fitch kids really believe that if they do their part, they can win this game.
So I'm going to disappoint them, Case, because they wanted me to pick against them, because I think the motivation worked on Thanksgiving, as I heard about when I got on to their sideline. But I give Fitch a shot here, like you. I mean, I think they're doing 2 things that we have not seen Fitch teams do in a while. They are throwing the ball better.
Yep.
Porter Carter's got 3 or 4 guys now who can go get it.
Well, that's when Spader Jr. Caught that pass, and now you've got Spader, and Fry, all of whom have are weapons. And then that's not including McBride. And all of a sudden you realize 5 different guys have caught touchdown passes. Yeah, it's a more diversified passing attack.
Yeah, and we just haven't seen that. And their last 2 games. Listen, if there were ever any 2 games for a Fitch kid to lose his mind on the field, it would be London Ledyard.
Yeah.
They didn't.
No, they didn't.
A combined 4 penalties.
Yeah.
Again, I just like the way they're playing.
Yeah, I'd like to I'd just like to, and you know what? They do have the athletes at important positions to make plays offensively. And I'd love to look back at the Porter Carter chase down strip of Cal Casavant as a seminal moment in their season. I also talked to Anthony Spader and I said to him, I don't want your contribution to that play to go unnoticed because he chased them down too and recovered the fumble. Right. And if he doesn't also chase from the backside with less opportunity, he wasn't catching them. He was there because the play wasn't over and he was chasing it. That play, if they win this game and they just, even if they move on and play Windsor, or they would play Windsor, they'd move on and play Wilton. Even if it's just that's a seminal moment in their season where the season turned and they were able. I think that's an important thing. I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The other thing about them that I would say is they. I mean, not about them. Bunnell's been this is their 3rd straight season in the playoffs, and even though they've won two state titles, this is the first playoff home game they have ever played.
That's cool.
And I wonder if there might be a little early
overexcitement, so to speak.
Stage fright, overexcitement. Yeah.
Yeah, I could buy that. So, is Windsor your prohibitive favorite? Or I know Wilton's very good.
No, Wilton is my favorite.
Okay.
So Wilton has 3 shutouts this year. They held Greenwich to 3, and I think they held St. Joe's under 10. I don't remember what that scored. Excellent defense. FCX schedule. I think they win it.
All right, Wilton's a favorite, and that would be who Fitch, if they can win. But winning a game over Bunnell would be a huge accomplishment for the Fitch team. Moving to M, where we will not spend a lot of time because, again, no ECCT teams. Berlin at 10-0 is the number 2 because St. Joe's' schedule is just redonkulous. Their 2 losses are to Hand and New Canaan, who are combined 19-1. They've also beaten Danbury, Southington, Ridgefield, Darien, and Fairfield Low, Wilton, and they only played 1 team under 500 in the entire year. So the schedule that St. Joe's plays is crazy.
And yes. And they only played 1 team on their schedule that was not in class LL or L. So of course, when the playoffs come around, let's put them in M.
Yeah, it doesn't. Again, I look at St. Joseph's and I look at Platt Tech, Brookfield, Guilford. These are not the same kind of scores.
Rattle off those teams that they beat.
St. Joseph's beat Danbury,
LL,
Southington,
LL,
Ridgefield,
LL,
Darien,
L,
Staples,
L,
LL, Fairfield Low, L, Wilton, M, Trumbull, Wilton, 9-1 M, by the way. Trumbull, L.
Wilton's
Wilton's double M.
I'm sorry.
Trumbull, L, and then their losses were to New Canaan, who's L, and Hand, who's S, but the second best team in the state.
Yes.
Or third best team in the state.
So you tell me why they're in.
Yeah. And that's why they're the prohibitive favorite to win this one. And so how about WCA? Congratulations, you get to go play.
Yeah, that's a
non-competitive.
Yep.
And if Guilford drops to the 4 there, and if you saw what Hand did to Guilford in their game,
3 pick sixes.
I mean, that's as we go to SS, which is where everyone wants to talk about. This is where I am. I mean, I'm like giddy looking at SS. So Killingly is number 1, and they'll take on Ellington. And if I'm Ellington, those kids will have played Killingly 3 years. Like if I'm a senior at Ellington, I want to go. Really? Like, what's the deal, guys? Can we mix in somebody else? Because if you remember last year, Ellington had to go through the ECC gauntlet. And it finally ended with Killingly. Hand is your 2. Nanawag, who everyone wants to play in the first round, just because they have to try to find somebody, is 3. Ledyard gets Jonathan Law in the 4-5. Waterford ends up as the 7, so they get to play hand. So who's got the more difficult matchup for them? Ledyard playing at Jonathan Law or Waterford playing at Daniel Hand?
Yes.
Yeah, either one sounds really bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen. Okay, all right, which one do you want us to start with?
Well, let's go with Ledyard, Jonathan Law. And I should let you know that Jonathan Law at 8-2 lost only to Killingly and Fairfield Prep. They also beat 7-3 Lyman Hall. They beat Notre Dame of West Haven, who's a double L school. They beat Brantford, who was 7-3. They beat Hamden, who's double L. Again, big schedule for Jonathan Law at 8-2.
You hear that? That's what Law is going to do to.
The question I have for Peter is, can the people at home hear that?
I'm going to assume so. let us know in the chat if you can hear the construction zone. Sounds like it's right on top of our head.
They're building apartments up above.
We have not added sound effects to our broadcast. This is actual work going on. But to Mike's point, Chad Neal said Law was the most physical, biggest team that they had faced. I saw Mike talk to Mike Siricchio Sunday. He said they have the best offensive lineman he's seen in 5 years. Like, that's a tough game.
They're big and strong. I think very capable of stopping Ledyard's run, and Matt Whitteman, their quarterback, can throw it. And Ledyard's had struggles back in the secondary, so that's just a bad matchup.
If you, they're 7-3. New Fairfield gets Nonawag. They get Jonathan Law. And I will say the top 4, Hand, Killingly, Hand, and Law, 3 of the top 4 teams. I would be very interested. So Killingly would have that rematch. So Hand actually gets a better road.
Oh, much.
Hand gets Waterford, who, quite frankly, that game should be non-competitive. And that's nothing against Waterford. Hand is just that good.
Yeah.
Whereas Killingly gets Ellington, a much more reputable program statewide over the past few years. But then in the second round, Hand would get Nonawag. If Nonawag beats New Fairfield, and Killingly would get a rematch with Law, who is a very tough game.
And my concern for Killingly there is because of the weather, the semis are Monday, where the high is going to be 26 degrees, by the way. But let's keep playing late in December. That's fine. No, but so if Killingly's final is Saturday and not Sunday, that's a short week, and I'm assuming that a Killingly Law semi-final is going to be physical and hard. That's a short week having to go play Hand in the finals. Killingly's road just got harder.
And that's where I was going. Remember when you said Killingly has to drill Hand if
maybe
New
not.
Canaan wins? Maybe not, because what if Hand wins 65-0 and 65-0 in their first 2 games, which is entirely in the realm.
Could be, yeah.
And then they roll into the finals, and Killingly beats a Law team in the semifinals, and then goes on and beats, even if they beat Hand, 40-28. Is that enough to overcome an undefeated New Canaan team?
Theoretically, yes, Case. But a lot of the voters in the poll treat New Canaan the way college basketball people treat Duke. Like, royalty above it all. We couldn't possibly vote them number two, all that stuff. I could. I'm starting to.
Sure.
Because I guess I sat down the other day. Class L is really bad.
Yeah, comparatively.
Bad. L and M are just bad.
Also a really nice hospital. So the question I have is the Killingly special teams or the Giants special teams. If you had to choose the Killingly special teams or the New York Giants special teams, who would you choose?
Killingly, because they're better coached.
Yeah, the New York Giants special teams, for anyone who didn't watch last night, was possibly the most embarrassing. Although I appreciate the kicker.
I saw a meme of the kicker, and the caption goes, he stopped. When you need when you suddenly see the green needs to clear from 250 yards, he stop in your backswing. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
What a quick. So we'll move down to S, our final one, and we will not spend a lot of time there as well because no team in it. But I think what a great first-round game, Bloomfield at undefeated Woodland. If you're Woodland, you don't want to see Bloomfield as your first-round opponent. Ansonia Seymour, another great matchup. So I do think the bottom of the bracket, Northwest Catholic at 6, there's no better 6, 7, 8 than 9-1 Northwest Catholic, 7-3 Ansonia, and 7-3 Bloomfield as the 6, 7, 8. Cromwell Portland, another incredibly reputable program, sitting at 3 at 9-1. Record-wise, S dwarfs everybody else.
And I'm picking Sheehan, number 5. Played the best schedule out of anybody in that division by far. Well coached, and I don't care if they are the 5, they're going to win it.
So we all agree, come Thursday, Killingly will be alive.
Yeah.
If we had to pick a team to be alive second, we agree it's Fitch.
Yes.
Of the other 4, Waterford, Valley, Ledyard, and NFA. Who has the
NFA?
NFA.
Yeah. Pete. I'm sorry. Case. When NFA lost to Ledyard in week 2, were you at that game? It was a Thursday night.
No, that was the Joe D game. Joe D.
No, that was a Xavier.
Oh, the NFA.
So I happened to
Killingly.
be.
Yeah, I do. I was there. Yeah.
NFA Ledyard.
Oh, NFA
Sorry.
Ledyard. No, I was not at that game when Ledyard killed them. Yes.
I was, and that's when I thought, NFA is really not bad. They played a terrible game that night, but they said, these guys aren't that bad. And again, they will not be overmatched athletically in that game.
Least chance between
Valley.
Waterford, Valley,
and can't possibly win.
that's
Although,
Waterford hand, Valley, Windsor.
Yeah, Waterford.
Ledyard Law. None of the 3 of them are particularly. Ledyard Law at least has a.
I think Waterford throws the ball far too much. The Haffey kid should get the ball way more.
I agree with you on that one.
And because Waterford throws it so much, Hand, we were saying before, 3 pick sixes in the Thanksgiving Eve game, and that could be bad.
So we will be back next week. And we will take a look at where we stand next week, and we'll do another one of these next week. And then we're going to be transitioning into basketball. Holiday Classic, everybody. Holiday Classic, the 23rd of December from Mohegan Sun. You referenced something that Fitch could play 5 games in 22 days if they were to make us a run to the States. That's unacceptable. So I am of the opinion, I am 100% of the opinion, you can't have Thanksgiving Day football and 8 teams in the playoffs with the format we have. You've been against the Thanksgiving Day. Now, I ask you, if we could go to 4 teams and keep Thanksgiving, would you choose that, or would you choose 8 teams remain but no Thanksgiving?
Neither. Okay, so I want to start earlier. And I want to. And I want to end earlier.
So you want Thanksgiving gone for the purposes of the season ending.
Yes.
At that time.
Yes. So just quick story. 2 summers ago, I went to visit Mike Emery. He lives on the Outer Banks now, and he was also at the time. Yes, he was also at the time the assistant football coach at the high school, because his son Brian was the head coach, and we were there. Their first game of that season was August 15th. I was there at the game. They are done the 3rd weekend in November. Done. 9-game schedule with a bye week and a week between each playoff round.
Rhode Island's done.
Rhode Island's done. Everybody, and I guess I just don't. How, it's funny. Somebody said this to me the other day. It's interesting how the CIAC listened to the meteorologists yesterday and moved the game, but they won't listen to trainers who say 5 games in 22 days is just not right.
Let me ask you a question. You know the CIAC people better than I do. Would somebody from the CIAC sit where you are and have this conversation with us?
Case, it's not necessarily the people in Cheshire who we view as CIAC. This begins with the football committee, and they are incredibly stubborn about this. This is I think we were having. This is the way we've always done it, and there's no dumber argument than that.
No, there's not.
Yeah, and again, but I mean 5 games. Normally Fitch was a bit because they played Saturday, the 17th, 16th, whatever day that was. But normally, if you go Thanksgiving quarter semifinal, you play 4 games in 17 days. That's just if you think that doesn't increase injury risk, and every trainer that I talk to is like, this is insane.
And the winter sports don't have enough power to push back on it a little bit at all, right? Because football rules the world?
Yeah, well, and this is the thing I don't understand. Basketball should have the hammer because basketball produces more revenue by far.
Right. And they, but it's not. The thing is, the revenue of basketball is generated primarily at the end of the year, where these kids are all back and healthy. In theory, so basketball essentially gives up their first 2 weeks.
Yeah. So last year, Waterford made the semifinals in football, had several basketball players on their team, and if I'm not mistaken, Bill Bassett said to us they had 2 or 3 practices with their football kids before their first game because those kids needed some time to. That's fair?
No, it's not. So overall, you and I are in lockstep. The obstacles for your plan are both Thanksgiving and the football world in general. So
I liked what you said the other day, and you're right. And I think this is kind of where I am too. 2 things can be true at the same time. Thanksgiving Day is kind of fun.
It is,
but the way it screws with the schedule, and the potential injury risk, to me, it just.
No, and what Mike Ellis said is what turned me on Thanksgiving Day, which is Thanksgiving is a championship game for every team that plays on it, regardless of whether you make the playoffs. So my thing would be keep Thanksgiving and drop to 4. If tomorrow was the semifinals and the finals were played this coming weekend,
I got no problem with that.
I'd be good with that.
I'd be all right with that.
So, I would have to argue. I'd have to see what those additional 32 teams or whatever, the 24 teams that make it. That would be really tough for me to. I would even go so far as to say, like, if you wanted to do 6 teams and but that doesn't change the number of games.
No, I think 4.
So 4 in Thanksgiving is the only way I would, if you want to keep Thanksgiving. And I'm kind of like watching some of this week's Thanksgiving games. Like, as it turns out, most of them ended up having playoff implications because we have 8 teams. But if you said 4, that Valley Griswold game would not have been for the postseason, and Valley would have come out of there feeling
like they won a state
100%.
Championship.
NFA New London would not have been for a playoff berth. Waterford East Lyme would not have been for a playoff berth. I don't think those games would have been any less impactful for those teams. No,
and there's another argument to be made here, and I'm surprised this one doesn't carry more weight. don't know that there's any organization in the world that is more, how shall we say, revenue conscious than CIAC. Monday night semifinals, it's going to be 20 degrees.
Yep.
Unless you're passionately tethered to it. No one's going. No one's going.
Nope.
And again, because we play so late.
And Fitch Ledgerd, by the way, Ledgerd would have had to win to even have a chance to make the playoffs, and Fitch would have been out. So
yeah.
So like Fitch would have gone into it would have changed the complexion of the season for a lot of these teams. I don't know that it would have made Thanksgiving any less relevant for those teams.
Right.
So all of a sudden now those games are your championship. So, well, it's a metaphor. The jackhammering, construction, and noise. A lot of noise this time of year as we head down the stretch for CIAC playoffs. Mike and I will be back next week to see the results and see how they are. Again, what do you want us to talk about, Mike and I? Because next week we won't have as much to talk about football-wise, and we will absolutely be looking for a topic. So you tell us, what's the topic of the week next week, and we will discuss.